Hope you guys having a great day. Welcome back to another episode of Future Money. We're here to talk about three big things that's happening right now in the world of crypto. And one big thing that's happening in the world of stocks. Oklo had bad earnings. It fell 20%. That's where it's at right now. So it's still way up from where it was before. Remember, Oklo is a company that is very new. They haven't really done anything yet. A lot of this is on speculation on what they're going to do. So the earnings call, just because it was bad does not mean that Oklo is not a good stock. It simply means that they're almost similar to a pre-revenue type company. So it's nothing to be worried about. I just want to start off with that because that is what we talked about last week. But I want to talk about a few things. iPad keeps going off. Give me a second. Display. I just got a new iPad. I broke it, dropped it in water. So now this display keeps going off. So how do I keep it on? Night log. Never. There we go. So we got to keep it from not locking all the time. So we want to talk about XRP. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Nvidia as positioned right now for a potential breakout. And we're going to talk about Uniswap, which I think is a good choice for its two real cryptos that I think have a good opportunity in the month of April that's coming up in a few days. My birthday is March 31st. What day is that? What day is March 31st? Will I even be in here? So I have to go to Miami this weekend. March 31st is a Monday. Yeah, we'll be doing the show on my birthday. I'm getting old. But we're going to talk about a bunch of things today. We're going to have a great episode. I hope you guys, if you would do so for me, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And also, please like the video. I'd really appreciate it. It helps us a lot. And also, we got a super chat already. Somebody said, I appreciate everything you do. All the money you've made, everyone out here, Crypto Prince podcast today. Yeah, we're filming the podcast later on today. Remote, because Robert's in Ohio right now doing some major work with his investors on some real estate projects. So I'm actually invested in that too. So I want Robert to be free and do what he does best because I'm trying to make some money here. So Robert has a lot of real estate. If you know, Robert does have a lot of real estate things going on. He's flipping a bunch of houses at once. He's managing that project. He has, my money's involved in that too. So I want him to be successful. So we'll try to work around his schedule. So, but we're going to film that. We're going to film that episode later on today. So I'm going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, where it's at right now. Bitcoin had a great bounce thus far, but it's still approaching a strong resistance point. The first resistance that it's approaching is the yellow line we see here, and it's about 90K. That's a psychological mark that it's going to be hard for Bitcoin to get through. Bitcoin is on track to retrace back up to 100,000, I believe. And if Bitcoin is able to break through that $90,000 psychological barrier, the next resistance is to 100. That's what I say. We got a clear path after the 90,000. 90,000 is going to be hard to get through. It may take a couple of times. But once we break 90,000, 100,000 is clear. And that's the saying, if it does get, it more than likely will get rejected the first time it hits 90. So if it hits 90, bounce back down to 87, 85, or 86, 87 mark, don't be surprised. That's actually expected. And we want it to hold above that $90,000 line for a day or two, and then we're going to see it continue on to that $100,000 mark, right? So crypto's not over. There's a lot of people out there saying that the top is in Bitcoin. I severely doubt that. And the reason why is because if you look back at historic halving cycles, a lot of people say that halving doesn't matter anymore. It does have it. Every single cycle, if you guys have been following me for 4, 5, 6 years, 7 years almost, I've talked about this in every halving cycle. It's the same pattern, which is so weird that people can't see it coming. People can make a lot of money if they would just step away from themselves and just see the patterns. Every single halving cycle, and if some of you have been following me, I said it back in 2020, 21. Halving happens. Nothing happens at first. The naysayers say, well, the halving cycle didn't work. And then Bitcoin starts to go up. People get excited. There's a drawdown. It always is. And people say, well, the halving didn't work. It doesn't have, it no longer has an effect. It's already priced in. They love saying that. It's already priced in. And then, boom, we have an exponential growth movement up. All those naysayers are shocked. It happens this is the third time since I've been on social media that this has happened, and I've walked you guys through it. This is the third time. So that's what I'm telling you, is that it's the same thing happens every single time they tell you to get scared. Well, the top is already in. The halving cycle doesn't work. Too many people know about it. Now I believe this will be the last halving cycle, which we see Bitcoin and crypto in general take these big movements up, but it's not. This time it's still in play. It's 18 months after the halving we see the biggest gains. We're only like 9 months past it. It was May of 2024. We're not even a year past it yet. We're but 7-8 months since the halving. 18 months is when we normally see the biggest, the peaks of that market, of that cycle. I mean, we got another super chat. What's the best platform to buy Bitcoin in your opinion? There's a bunch of places to buy it, right? I think everybody should use Coinbase, because Coinbase is the biggest, has the most support, and it's the easiest interface. People use Robinhood. There's a lot more out there. There's Gemini. There's all these other exchanges. I think any place is a good place, as long as it's a well-known company, a reputable brand, and you're not buying from somebody online, because there's always a scams. So now that we talked about Bitcoin, I want to talk about XRP, right? After 4 years, the XRP, the SEC Ripple lawsuit is wrapping up. The SEC has dropped its appeal and agreed to return $75 million of that original $125 million fine. That's a lot, right? And I'm glad that Ripple was able to retrieve some of that. Ripple also withdrew their own appeals, their cross appeal or their counter appeal. And the SEC is now asking Judge Torres to lift the obey the law injunction, which will finally allow XRP to sell to institutions. You know, they haven't been able to do that for the last 4 years. People don't realize how big of a hold this was on XRP. And people, you know, I'm getting a lot of messages now. Why isn't it moving the market? Why is it not doing this? Why is it not doing that? Sometimes it's delayed. All of these things happen in a bear market, a slight bear market in cryptocurrency. In my history, in my experience in cryptocurrency, when big news happens in bear markets, it don't move the market. It never has. And I always tell you guys this, and people don't realize this about investments in general, stocks, crypto, even real estate, is that whenever you see people see conflicts and they get scared, because in a rational mind, you know that these things should be moving the market. And then you look at the market and they don't move the market. And there's a conflict. And you say, why is these things not balancing itself out in real life? Why is the positive news not causing positive reaction in the stocks? Well, if you know the 4 cycles of the market cycle, you got accumulation, markup, distribution, markdown. You understand in accumulation, nothing makes sense. And I've always told you this for the last 5 or 6 years. In accumulation, the first phase of any market cycle, it could be over months, over years. It could happen, repeat itself over and over and over again. In accumulation phase, right before there's a big movement, there's always things that don't make sense. Companies investing in Bitcoin, but the price is not going up. The news telling you it's over, but yet big banks are getting involved. The price isn't moving, but all this positive news is happening. It doesn't make sense because we're in a slight bear market and we're in an accumulation phase of that bear market. That's why it doesn't make sense. And then we're going to see after the accumulation phase is over, after all the negative, the bear market and crypto in general is over, all of these things that's happening will start to be reflected in the price. And then people are going to be shocked. All the naysayers are going to be shocked. People that held are going to be, maybe even rich after all of this is over. But in accumulation phase, none of this makes sense. But that's what makes people who have has a strong thesis in what they're doing, hold on through all the negativity, and at the end, they get their final reward. That's why some people become rich and invested and so many others fail. Because things like this cause people to panic and get out. And that's the thing about life, is that the people who make it are not really the best. I told you last week, a bunch of idiots are rich. I know a whole bunch of idiots that are very successful in life. And the reason why they're successful is not because they're so smart. It's not because they're so talented. It's because they refuse to give up, persistent. Sometimes people that are not that smart are very persistent because they don't even realize what's happening. When I played in high school, I hope he's not listening. I hope he's not listening. I played basketball in high school. He's probably not listening. He's a good guy, but I'm not going to say his name. He was the best player on our team, right? And it could be two high schools, so you never know. I played for two high schools, so you'll never know who it is. So it could be more than one person. But I'm gonna tell you, in high school, we played basketball, and it was a dude that played with us, right? And it was another dude that I played with. Me and him were like, we were friends, and we were confused about like this dude would like it'd be the game on the line. The dude would he was like his like ice water was like running through his veins. He would get the ball, hit the game-winning shot every time. And me and my friend were confused. Why is he not nervous? All these people watching, man, at 15 years old, I'd be shaking so bad I couldn't shoot the shot. And we came to a conclusion. He's not smart enough to understand the gravity of the situation. He didn't know it was like a robot. He got the ball, ran to the middle of the thing, jumped high as he could, and then scored on everybody and didn't understand what was going on. Because he didn't understand, he could handle the gravity of the situation more than somebody with more intelligence. Because you're overthinking it. You're trying to figure out what people are watching. What if I miss? What's the odds that I'm going to miss? Now, he ain't thinking about all that. Shoot. Okay, look, the coach tell him, go to the middle, shoot the ball. Okay, gets the ball, runs to the middle, boom, shoots the ball and makes it. He was very successful. Because he was not smart enough to understand the gravity of the situation. But that's a lot of times what happens in real life. Is that, I'm sorry I had to use that analogy, but that's the only one that came to my head. It's because that's how life is sometimes. He's a good guy. I'm not saying it could be anybody. So, but that's how life is a lot of times. Some of the richest people I know are not that smart. They're not that talented, but even if you look at this guy, now he wasn't that smart. He's a good guy and he's persistent. And he's successful in life right now. Because he doesn't give up. Eventually something works out. Now, what does it matter if he's smart? That's what a lot of times smart people don't realize. I'm smart. I should be this. I should have this. Some dude told me online, you're no good. You don't understand what you're talking about. I should be the one doing all of this. Now, if you were so smart, you'd figure it out. You see, a person is not, the society, not traditionally smart, has the persistence to keep going. And that's why they end up, all the academics and all the professors, all the corporate dudes, I don't understand why that guy has money. I'm at work every day at 9 o'clock and I work my butt off to 6 o'clock. And I should be the one with the Lamborghini and all these things. It's not right. It's just not right, Jimmy. It's not right. These idiots make all this money and I'm just working my butt off. I'm here every month, working my butt off, 9 o'clock to 5. I put my time in, I got my degree, and I can barely make ends meet. Well, okay, if you're so smart, you would have figured it out like this other dude. That's what I'm talking about. You're not, something's off. The dude figured it out, you didn't. So that's all I'm saying. I don't want to go down that path, but I'm just saying that with XRP, the people who end up making the most money are the people who don't overthink everything. Fear and greed, all these things get in your head because you're overthinking stuff, right? You have a thesis on XRP. I think it's going to do this. I'm watching all the news. It makes sense to what people like Armando and other people are saying. Now, I'm going to stick with my thesis until this plays out. And then those are the people who make all the money. Now, it's not really so much on intelligence. I'm just using that as a point. It's about the ability to stand, to hold through all of these negativities. The world does not want you to be rich. The world does not want you to make money. So they'll throw everything they can, the kitchen sink at you to get you off your path. And you have to be strong enough to stay on your path. That's the difference. And people with, maybe not traditionally intelligent, they're normally the ones who stay on the path. And that's what the big difference is. So Ripple is now legally positioned to sell XRP to institutional investors. This is going to open the door for massive, massive inflows in the XRP. People don't realize what's happening behind the scenes. We also got Japan banks. 80% of Japan banks are poised to move over to XRP over the next year. XRP has been making, Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple, has been making major, major moves over this last year, strategic moves. All while this lawsuit stuff's been going on. I really like Brad Garlinghouse. I didn't like him a few years ago, but I actually like what he's doing now. He's a smart dude. Have we got any water over there? Nah, it's probably. They got one. All right. So let me look at some questions here. Somebody said, you're cracking me up this morning. Somebody said, just like your book, the laziest people come up with the easiest ways to get rich. Exactly. I know some dudes that ain't that smart and ain't that hard workers that are rich. Now, if you please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and please like the video. I'd really appreciate it. We only got 185 likes, but we got 1,000 people in this room right now. We should have at least 200-300 likes. So I need you guys to like the video. You're cracking me up this morning. Thanks. I didn't call that dude stupid. I said he wasn't traditionally intelligent. Somebody said you called this dude stupid. I didn't say that. I said that's different types of intelligences. He wasn't traditionally intelligent. There's also a type of intelligence called physical or kinetic intelligence. He had that. He was highly intelligent kinetically or physically. He just wasn't what we call traditionally intelligent, book smart, I guess you call it. I should go back and revise that because there's more than one type of intelligences. I think there's 5 or 6. And he was kinetically and physically intelligent, but he wasn't. I'll give you a good example about intelligence. I consider myself extremely intelligent. I do consider myself. But one of the hardest things, why my career wasn't successful in Puerto Rico? And I said it in my book, because I wasn't good at figuring out the plays. Now, I can read stock charts. I can predict future. I can predict a lot of things in the market. I can tell you what's coming next in almost every type of industry in tech and in crypto. I can almost tell you, and I've been doing it for 7 years. But when it came down to the plays in basketball, I would be confused. Other dudes who you consider not traditionally intelligent go out there and run the plays. I'm sitting there bumping into people running off because they flipped the play. So there's some things I'm not good at. That's more like physical intelligence. Thank you. And I don't have a lot of physical intelligence, I guess. Now I could play basketball and run free, but once you get to these complicated things, I'm not that good at it. So we got 307 likes. I appreciate it. Please like the video. We got the CNC open. Our CNC is our group. Go to jointhecnc.com. We got a new app dropping in 1 week called the CNC University. It's part of the CNC membership. It's going to have classes, live events. We got something we call strategy sessions, where we talk to industry leaders and we have them break down how they got to where they are today, to give you insight and exclusive insight into how they got where they're at today. And everybody's verified. We don't have any scammers on our platform. Not anymore. It was a dude on there. We got rid of him. But it was no, not anymore. We figured out he wasn't a good person. But he's gone now. So, but that's how things happen. So now, like I said, the next thing that's going to happen is that there are a lot of companies right now filing for XRP ETFs, and that's going to be the next wave of. So it says next event in New York. It'll probably be after we get the app. All hands on the app right now. So everybody's working on the app. So we don't have time to do anything else till we get this app launched. App is a lot of work. So they said, what happened to Proppy? I'm still promoting Proppy. Why would I talk about, what do you want me to say about Proppy? Proppy, I'll tell you right now. What am I going to say about Proppy? We're in a down market. I haven't talked about any other altcoins except for XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. That's it. In a down market, altcoins don't do well. So even though I believe Proppy will do extraordinarily well in the bull market, there's nothing to talk about. Now, I'm not going to come on here and talk about everything every single day. That doesn't make sense. I don't have time. It's an hour show a day, an hour on Mondays and Wednesdays, and it's an hour on Strategy Sundays. I can't talk about everything. It's impossible. So I have to focus on, every show is focused on, like today is focused on XRP, Nvidia, Uniswap, and XLM. That's it. I can't bring in Proppy every single week. It doesn't work like that. People used to get mad because I didn't talk about XRP every week. I can't do that either. So, and the only reason I'm talking about it every week now is because there's developments every week. There's no developments with Proppy. So there's nothing to talk about. Was it BitBoy? Yeah, BitBoy Crypto got arrested. So the SEC, the XRP case is nearly closed. They're expected. There's an 86% chance on a lot of prediction markets that there will be an XRP spot ETF approved in 2025. The Crypto.com CEO projects that there could be an $8 billion worth of inflow by 2026 from just ETFs coming into XRP. Ripple has a strong leadership, a strong institutional demand, is waiting on the sidelines because they know that Ripple is a corporation. They know that Ripple will get things done, and they know that all these artificial barriers to Ripple's growth are now slowly being removed. So there's a lot of institutional money on the sidelines, either through the ETFs or through directly buying XRP from Ripple. So there's a lot of big things coming as soon as we get through this mini bear market. So a lot of analysts out there are saying right now at this point, XRP is a screaming buy. It's obvious buy. Now, they're saying that now. I said it 2 years ago, but now they're saying it. The legal resolution removes the biggest risk holding XRP back. Now, that's what I'm talking about here is that major institutions, major people, major investors, either sole investors or through a corporation or an institution, they were hesitant to invest in XRP. A lot of people were. If you ask the average person, they say XRP is dead, which doesn't even make sense because it's the third, fourth biggest crypto in the world. Like, how is it dead? If it was dead, it would be on its third, fourth page, like so many other cryptos. I've been in this industry since 2011. I remember CoinMarketCap. If you look at CoinMarketCap in 2000, let's say 11, now let's say 2015 to now, the whole page is different. IOTA was number 4 at one point. We had EOS was number 5 at one point. They're like on the 5th, 6th page now. Now, that's what happens is that people don't realize that all these other coins, hundreds and thousands of coins that were poised to be great projects are gone now. XRP is held on. That shows you that it's not a dead coin. That's what we call success bias. People don't realize all the failures and all these things happening because they only focus on the ones that are successful. So they see something like XRP and they say, well, these other coins are more successful than them, so XRP is a failure. But that's not true because of the 3 or 4 you could say did better than XRP over the last 6 months, there's at least 10,000 coins that failed completely. Maybe even 20, 30,000 coins that just failed completely. But people don't see that because of success bias. They only see the ones that the visibility is on the ones who did well. So you don't even see the other 20,000 that did bad. So you compare with only successful people. I remember it was a guy that I played basketball with in high school too. He actually went to the NBA. Trenton Hassel played for Timberwolves. He played for the Nets. I also played with Sean Marion. I was playing basketball with him one time. He was at the end of his career in the NBA. And he's playing. And this dude is an NBA vet. He played 11 years in the NBA. He was a defensive stopper. And he's playing with a kid. And this kid is a superstar, but he was a superstar. He didn't do anything past high school, but he was a superstar at the time in my hometown. I was about 30 years old at the time. So he's playing against Trenton. Trenton's killing him in basketball. So he wins the game. So the kid's talking trash. You're garbage. You garbage. What are you talking about? I'm in the NBA. Well, you say, you'll see. Let's see how far you get. He's telling this 18-year-old kid, and the kid tells him, you ain't nothing. You didn't even make how many times you made the All-Star team? No, you didn't make the All-Star team at all. I mean, that's what success bias will do is that you'll compare somebody's path to only the greats. What about all the other thousands of people that passed through the NBA that didn't even make the teams or only stayed on 10-day contracts or got cut in the first couple of weeks? You don't see all those people because they never was playing. They were on the bench. They never dressed out. You don't see it. He beat out all those people. All you say is he never made it to that next level to the 50 or the 30 people that make the All-Star team. So he's below that, so he's no good. That's the same thing with XRP. XRP is below all these few coins that actually did good, so it's no good. Nope, that does not mean it's no good. That means it hasn't got to it's not XRP's era yet. And it's done extraordinarily well under the circumstances. So a lot of people are saying, a lot of the analysts right now, this guy doesn't even answer on the live stream unless you pay. I mean, I can't answer all the questions, man. So if you want to pay, I mean, I'll see it. I've answered like 4 questions so far without paying. So, I mean, if you want to, I wish you could see the screen. If I look over there, I don't see nothing. So if you pay, it turns yellow and it's huge. So yeah, I'm going to see it if you pay. The visibility is better. So if you're not paying, I don't see it. If I see it, I'll answer it. But if you pay, it's a big yellow thing blinking right there. So yeah, I answered. That's how it is, man. There's nothing wrong. It's just that's how it is. I don't see your question, but if I look down sometime, like the glitch of XRP 22,000 gave me blue balls. I shouldn't have said that. I just read it, but I just read that. I'm sorry about that. But all the coins aren't as good. Okay, so what is your take on the glitch of 22,000? I don't think that glitch is, that's an exchange limited glitch. I mean, exchanges have glitches sometimes. That doesn't mean anything. It's just a glitch. It doesn't mean XRP is supposed to be 22,000. It doesn't mean it's going to 22,000. All it means is that it was a glitch on the system. That's all it means. And sometimes there was a time when Bitcoin traded at like $1 on an exchange for a split second. Somebody got a whole Bitcoin for $1 like 3 or 4 years ago. That doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to $1. It means it's just a glitch. So many analysts now are starting to say that XRP is poised to hit $8 in the coming months. There's a lot of renewed confidence and utility. Token is regaining its position with top analysts. A lot of people are now saying it's the best crypto to buy. Somebody said, welcome to the castle. We just got a new member. Thank you, Diana. So I want to talk about Solana. Then we're going to talk about Nvidia. We're going to talk about Uniswap, and we're going to talk about XLM. Before we do that, I need you guys to share a lot. Please like the video. And please, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. We also got the CNC wide open. Right now, the price is $97 a month. We got signals, both crypto and stock. Now we do crypto signals. So we tell you the best cryptos to buy, like a lot of the meme coins and stuff. Now, I don't believe in meme coins, but we do have a community in there which do target, and we're able to pick which coins are going to do well based on our patented analysis of different cryptos. So we got people in there to do. I don't believe in meme coins long term, but I've said that there's opportunities in which you could day trade them, right? So we do have people in there that will snipe them and tell you which ones to look good or which ones don't. We also do that with stocks. We do long term, short term. We do. We got classes in there, but we talk about stocks, options, real estate, entrepreneurship. It's really a whole community which people have learned and grew a lot and made a lot of money along the way. If you're interested, please go to jointhecnc.com or I put it in the chat here. Somebody says, does cold wallet storage offer staking rewards? Do you encourage staking? From here on out, what's the best investment, Bitcoin or XRP? Oh, from here on out, I think XRP is a better choice than Bitcoin from this point on. Do cold wallet storage offer staking? Yes, some do. I believe that Trezor does. They offer staking, and they used to offer you can loan your Bitcoin to people, but I don't know if they do that anymore. But I know they do staking. Now, staking is pretty good because your coins, if the staking is true and it's not a scam, which most of them aren't, if you go with a reputable company, when you stake your crypto, it's actually locked up on a node, so you can't get to it, right? So nobody can steal it. It's actually safer when it's locked up on a node than it is in your own wallet. And then once the staking period is over, you get your crypto back, or you can continue to stake it and earn staking rewards. Now, a lot of like for Ethereum, for example, a lot of people give you between 2 and 3%. With Solana, it's like between 3 and 5%. So Solana actually gives you a higher staking reward, but sometimes you can't. All exchanges don't do that. But staking I stake my Ethereum because it's a good way to make money, a good way to have income, and you also get the staking rewards in crypto, so you compound your crypto over time. So I think it's a good way to make money. Roger Alexander says, "God bless you, bro. I really appreciate that. Thank you." So let's talk a little bit about altcoin momentum. We can talk about Uniswap and XLM, which is set up for April rally. I haven't talked about altcoins for a while because the market was in a bear market, but I believe we're going to start coming out of that this April. So if we look at Uniswap was under SEC investigation. It just got, I think, a few weeks ago, the SEC dropped their investigation on Uniswap. Uniswap is one of the major players when it comes to especially the altcoins and making sure you're able to exchange one altcoin to the other. It's a coin that handles that liquidity, handles those exchanges. So the trading volume in Uniswap is slowly going higher and higher. So that shows us that there are some more and more interest with Uniswap. Now, whenever retail investors come into cryptocurrency, which I believe we haven't seen a big influx of retail investors this time yet. And that's another positive sign that we're not at the top of this market. We're at the somewhere in the middle, right? Because retail investors always come in right at the beginning of, at the end of, right sometime in markup, right at the beginning of distribution. We see all the retail investors coming. That's why I'm saying we're not there yet. And people don't realize that is that retail has not come into the market yet. Now, retail does not just stay out of markets that go up. That's impossible. It has to, all markets go through that 4-phase market cycle. So if we haven't seen the second or third phase, it means it's not over yet. So Uniswap, I believe, is going to start showing some more positive gains in relation to the rest of the market. I'm going to start, I really don't have any stake in Uniswap right now, but I'm going to start building it up this week. I'm not going to go too hard on it, but I want to buy some just to, so my exposure is there, because I think Uniswap is going to start moving upwards once retail investors come in. They're swapping back and forth tokens, trying to get into the next meme coin, trying to get into the next AI token or whatever is the hottest token of the week or month or whatever. Uniswap is going to become one of those tokens that they need to do that. That's going to drive the demand and bring the price up. So I'm going to start getting into some Uniswap. Stellar, I think, is going to start doing well as XRP goes up, because you remember Stellar is almost a copy of XRP. It's been changed some, but the same people that created XRP also created Stellar. So they've had some recent protocol upgrades. They're boosting their cross-payment border efficiency, cross-border payment efficiency. They're improving their scalability. They're attracting attention from enterprise and companies and organizations and institutions. If you look at the technical momentum, institutional interest could start breaking some of the resistance in the technicals and could drive a breakout in April. Like I said, I think April is going to be a big month for crypto in general, and I think these two cryptos can do extraordinarily well going forward. So we're going to talk about Nvidia, and then I'm going to let you guys go for the day. How long have we been on so far? Yeah, we're almost at the end. So I need you guys to share live with 10 of your friends. I need you guys to please like the video and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Marcus Willie, be careful with that Grok 7A token pre-sale. These things are scams. Be careful with that stuff. I don't know if anybody's in here. I didn't know if anybody was in here promoting that. Be careful about people promoting coins and tokens in the comment section on YouTube or coming into lives promoting them. Be very careful with that, because a lot of those are scams. It's very highly likely to be a scam, especially a token with a number in it. So be very careful with that. There we go. Oh, the battery went out. Hey, here's my other. Put this up here. James says, "I appreciate you, brother. Thanks, I appreciate that." So yeah, so Nvidia is set up for a breakout right now. Now I told you that I thought Nvidia's downtrend would be slight, and it dipped down. Where's Nvidia at right now? Let me see. Yeah, Nvidia is actually down today 4%. So like I said, I think it's a good to take advantage of this dip, because if you look at the fundamentals on Nvidia, the revenue surged 78% year to year. Is now at 39.3 billion. The net income exploded 80% to 22 billion. Data centers have grown ridiculously, 93% over the last year. Even though there's a dip right now, I think that the Nvidia has dominance in the AI revolution. I believe that they're going to continue to go up. Somebody wrote me these things, says, I feel back then Shiba, I think Shiba advertised more than XRP. I don't know what that means, Andre. I would answer it, but I don't know what that means. So the Blackwell Ultra, remember, Nvidia had a big conference and they released a lot of new products. Blackwell Ultra is a game changer. The architecture is 70 times faster for AI tests than the previous chip. So I think that's going to cause a lot of demand to come in Nvidia's products because people are going to want that chip so they can compete faster than their competitors. It enables continuous learning in AI factories, not just batch training. And this pushes the boundaries of autonomous decision making with companies scrambling to build these in-house chips. Nvidia's full stack ecosystem keeps it something that's very indispensable to people who want to hyperscale their operations. And a lot of companies are looking into that because remember, everything in life is competition. And people don't realize, if you realize this, things start to make a lot more sense in entrepreneurship and trading and your work life and your home life. Everything is competition. And I'm not saying that's bad. It's just that's just the way it is. Like if I'm selling, if I have a corner stand downtown and I'm selling hot dogs. I look around, there's no more hot dog salesmen. I say, well, I ain't got no competition. Yeah, you do. Your competition is not the hot dog vendors. It's the person down the street selling hamburgers. It's the person across the street selling coffee. It's the person down the street selling cotton candy. And people don't realize that. That's not my competition. Yeah, it is because you're competing for dollars. If somebody walking down the street with $5, they can only buy your hot dog and that hamburger. That's your competition. They got to decide between the hot dog and the hamburger. Now, how do you make your hot dog more appealing for people to buy? Well, maybe you get a better stand. Maybe you get a better sign. Maybe you get a dancing clown in front of it. I don't know. But you have to draw attention to it. It's competition. Now, even with AI, one company has chips built up and they're running AI systems. Now they're doing things at this speed, at one-time speed. Another company says, well, we're going to buy Blackwell Ultra chips. We're going to do it at 70 times the speed of you. We're going to do 70 times the amount of work you can do. Now they're getting all the customers because they say, look, we're going to do 70 times as much work. We're going to do it at a price because now that we have these chips, we can charge you less because we could do 70 times more work. Now it may charge you $1,000 to do a task on this one-time company, and it may be $10 or $100 to do it on this other company. You're going to choose the company that's cheaper and faster. Then this other company who was 1 times as fast has to scale up. So they're forced to buy Blackwell Ultra chips as well. So that's how competition works. So I believe that a lot of companies are going to start buying these chips, and that's what's going to cause NVIDIA's next phase of growth. And we're going to go, like I always said, NVIDIA can still, more than likely over the next 5 years, get to $1,000 from here. That's what is that, a 10 times? Where's NVIDIA? That's almost a 10 times return. Another 10 times return in 5 years. And I strongly believe that. There's going to be some ups and downs along the way. It's a rare dip, but history favors the bold. Remember that. NVIDIA just formed a death cross. Now, what is a death cross? A death cross is a technical signal. It's a bearish signal, but it shouldn't bother long-term investors. Now, the last time NVIDIA had a death cross in 2018 and 2022, NVIDIA rallied 140% and 85% respectively. So within 2 years. Now, a death cross happens when a stock's 50-day moving average falls below its 200-day moving average. Now, what do these two things mean? Now, a moving average is a measure of, it takes the stock's closing price over 200 days. It averages that price and it plots it on a chart. It does the same thing for the 50-day. But the 50-day is a shorter time frame. So because it's a shorter time frame, that shows the short-term demand for this stock. Short-term demand. The 200-day shows the long-term demand for the stock. So if the 50-day falls below the 200-day, that's a signal that the short-term demand has dropped in comparison to the long-term demand. So that's a death cross. That means that the long-term demand is going to follow quickly after. So if both of those start falling down, you got a downward trend. So it's a prediction pattern of a downward trend coming or demand dropping in a particular stock. That's why that death cross makes a lot of sense. And that's why people will see that as a signal that something bad is about to happen. So that's why they call it the death cross. It doesn't mean it always happens. Sometimes it's a signal for a bearish movement in stocks and crypto. But in this particular case, I think it's an opportunity to buy NVIDIA at these reduced prices. Now, NVIDIA right now is just 25 times forward earnings. It was 50 times forward earnings this year. Remember, NVIDIA, the way we judge a stock is we look at earnings, right? And we say, well, how much, if I buy this stock, what is the cost to buy this company's earnings? And that's where we get the P&E ratio from. Now, NVIDIA at one point was 50 times earnings. That means that it would cost, the price of the stock in relation to the earnings was 50 times. So now it's half that at 25 because the stock has dropped, but the earnings have went up. So that's still a positive sign. That's a great sign going forward. Now, I don't believe that the stock price reflects where Nvidia is going in the future. It's actually a great price right now. Like I said, there's short-term fears, but there's also long-term fortune. Nvidia is still the #1 AI chip leader. The demand is growing faster than rivals can compete. The numbers are strong. The earnings are strong. The demand is strong, but the price is falling. That's another conflict that we could take advantage of. So, KP says, great explanation. I heard of the death cross before, but not explained so well. I'll tell you why people don't explain stuff well. Remember, I used to be a college professor. That's why I explain things better. But on the other way is that most people that teach, now there's two ways you can go teaching, right? And this is what I'll tell you guys a story. I got enough time, so I'm gonna tell you this story. First time I went to college, I wanted to do computer science. I got into first class, sat down, and there was a teacher. I forget his name, but he looked like an Einstein type teacher. He gets in there and I think I already told this story. He looks at two people and he says, "Look to your left, look to your right. One of you won't make my class." Then he proceeds to get on the board and starts writing all this math on the board. Man, he freaked me out and I quit. I'm like, I can't do all this. That's crazy. So over 2 years, I was trying to do pre-med. I did not like pre-med. And I was like, man, I really want to do computer science. I'm going to try this again. Went back to another teacher, Dr. Vandergrift. He was a great teacher. He just passed. I still kept in contact with a lot of them. He explained it easily. Now, I realized the difference between the two teachers. One wanted you to think he was smart. He didn't care if you learned. The second one brought himself down to your level so y'all both, because you can learn. And he explained it a lot easier because he was willing to bring himself down to your level. The first dude didn't bring himself down. He kept himself up here because he wanted you to think he was smart. He didn't care if you learned or not. A lot of teachers, especially on social media, they want you to believe they're smart. So they'll explain it in a complicated way so you can understand it. That's the reason why it's a lot harder for you to learn from some people as opposed to others. Appreciate all your hard work at around 100K profits since election. Thanks to you. I hope you do something good with that money, Isaiah. I'm really happy to hear that. That comment made my day. I appreciate you. Thanks, Armando. What are your thoughts on Ethereum this cycle? Still a good buying opportunity? Yeah, I think Ethereum is still a buy. I just think it's delayed. Like I said, one of my three biggest holdings I got is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Terry says, where is the dude? Haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know what's happening to that dude. I appreciate you, Queen. Hey, Armando, could you recommend a platform to buy Nvidia? Yeah, I mean, Robinhood is a great one. E-Trade, any stock trading platform you can buy Nvidia on. So with that being said, I hope you guys take a look at the CNC, join the CNC.com. Also, please, if you can, if you like the video before we leave, drop a super chat if you like the live, and if you learned something, and if you've made money with me like Isaiah have. Drop a super chat, and I'll let you guys go for the day.